not once a week. Sometimes I'm actually not here. It's sometimes every other week. Just, I'm not doing a lot of clinical work right now. Um,
So
primary babysitter's having knee replacement this week. So,
Oh my gosh.
uh,
You have a boy or girl?
a girl.
Oh my god,
But,
congratulations.
thank you. But so next week, for example, I'm not here Friday because I have to babysit him.
Good.
My wife doesn't like when I call it babysitting.
I could do the babysitting.
yeah.
I'm big into the babysitting thing.
Yeah, I enjoy it too, but I'm sure you can.
No, right. It
So-
shouldn't interfere.
So Wednesday,
Wednesday at 11:30 is that?
11:30. Yeah,
Does that work?
that works.
We'll all synchronize our thing.
So what we talked about was, do you want to summarize? Do you want me to summarize?
We talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about my anxiety symptoms, and how I'm looking for relief from those anxiety symptoms. We talked about the nature of those anxiety symptoms and the positives and negatives of the anxiety medication. The positives being the relief it gives, obviously, and the negatives being the tolerance that develops after about 6 months of use. It becomes it stops having its effect, and you need more to reach the same effect. And also the sedation effect that it has is the other negative. But that's not a problem for me. I would rather have the sedation than the distress. So we kind of worked from there and talked about my other symptoms, any psychotic symptoms, anxiety symptoms, depression symptoms, how I've been eating, anything else that's been going on. And we kind of came to a kind of vague conclusion. What?
Yeah.
What?
That's a good
What
summary.
was
You're
it?
good, yeah, I'm telling you.
That's good. No, I mean, so I think that's all completely true. We talked about all that stuff. We also talked about depression a little bit, which I think you didn't mention there. We talked about. Do you mind if I summarize that?
That's fine.
Part
Yeah.
of it all, yeah. We talked about suicidal thoughts, and Jeremy said that he was not having them right now. Maybe was more like 6 months ago or
6
something.
months ago.
But in the last few weeks, not feeling that way. And then we basically talked about medications. We talked about there's kind of like it's like 3 different types of medicines that people use to kind of relieve distress. I think in these settings, one is the antidepressants, which Jeremy's tried for long, many years and still on, and we might want to change at some point, but it's not going to bring some sort of acute relief, so probably not a primary kind of like decision point right now. So we're just going to continue to proceed for right now. The other is the benzodiazepines, which definitely can kind of bring some relief. And as Jeremy said, they're not. You don't want to be on them for years and years and years. I'm sure you've seen people do take them for years and years and years. And I usually say 3 to 6 months is when you want to be trying to taper off of them. And they're really good when you need them. And right now, I think is one of the times where I'd say you need them, basically. And so I think it's fine to keep taking them, basically while we try to figure out an alternative that's going to work in a longer term way, basically. So I think we are going to continue that for now. We talked a little bit about dosing and kind of maximum doses and things like that. And then the third is, it's medicines like the Abilify that Jeremy's been taking. And, the Abilify dose that you're on is very low. It's 2 milligrams. We tried to go up, actually, I don't know if you actually knew this. At some point we tried to go up and he couldn't tolerate it, that he was experiencing nausea and vomiting. And so we went back down. But I do think medicines in that category could be very helpful right now. So we talked a little bit about things like Seroquel and Risperidone and other kinds of things in that category. Talked about a few of the different options. The long story short is I think some Seroquel would actually be very helpful right now, and I think that it could help tremendously with anxiety. I think it might make you tired and or sedated, which, as you said, right now might not be the worst thing. That's not a long-term goal, but I think in the short term, we can manage that. If you feel better, I think it'll be helpful. And then in the long term, also can cause weight gain and other things like this that
I'm
can
okay
be
with that.
problematic. But for right now, I think also, I think we just have to try to get Jeremy feeling a little bit better. So I think, so I think we should send some in and have him try it.
Is this in addition to or instead of the Abilify?
I think it's a great question. We talked about that, and I basically said, one of the questions here is, are we going to switch or are we going to try to add it to it? I think in very, very short term, meaning like immediately, I would just add it to it.
Mhm.
And then I think in a week or two, if you're feeling a little bit better, then we would try to stop the Abilify. I think ultimately you don't want to be on both. That like the side effects and things are worse when you combine these things together. And also ultimately you don't want to be on both, but in the spirit of kind of like, I don't want to do anything that's going to make you feel worse before you feel better, and removing something could make you feel worse because you might have some withdrawal and things like that. So I feel like if we can add something and in a week or two you're kind of like, this feels pretty good, I feel better, then we'll say, okay, now what can we start to take away? And it's an important thing to do because people tend to, one of the things our field does very poorly actually is we add things and then we never go back and revisit that, and then just kind of more and more and more. So I do think we have to revisit that. That's kind of it in a nutshell. The other thing we did talk about a little bit is I did mention to Jeremy the idea of like, it might be helpful to get another set of eyes on things, just to kind of basically make sure I'm not missing anything or not thinking of anything, and that it would almost feel like for my benefit in some ways, and I'm open to that. So I'm going to give that a little bit more thought.
Sounds good.
That's kind of the summary.
Can I ask a question
Please,
about
yeah.
medicine again? I'm
Yeah,
no
please,
pro here.
Please.
I've been reading more and more about things like ketamine and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Is there
Yeah.
any role for something
Yeah,
like
no,
that?
it's
I would try
great,
ketamine.
It's a great question. I actually, it's funny, before you came in today, in the back of my mind, it didn't come up today, but in the back of my mind, I was thinking about, so like when someone's really been struggling for many years and is feeling very, very poorly, either for anxiety or depression or whatever it may be, there's now probably 3 different things that we turn to that are fairly standard of care. So one is ketamine, one is transcranial magnetic stimulation, EMS, and one is ECT, electroconvulsive therapy. ECT and EMS have both been around for a while now. They have all 3 of these things, I'd say, have different kind of like stigmas associated with them. But the reality is they're all probably very good treatments. So ketamine, so ECT I think is actually a very, very good treatment. It's invasive and hard, and it's something that I always keep on the table as something to potentially talk more about at some point. I don't think you're there yet, but like worth keeping in mind, because mainly because it works so well. That people who do it, they just feel like it works so incredibly well. TMS is kind of like in the middle. It's like probably doesn't hurt. Unclear that it really helps. It's kind of somewhere in the middle.
What is TMS?
It's a giant magnet, basically. It's essentially, so people, the research basis for this was people started associating repeat MRIs with improved mood, and then said, well, wait, is there something to this? And so now they focus it looks like a dental chair, basically, and you wear this kind of magnet helmet thing, and they try to focus it. It's I don't know.
Okay.
I'm willing to try.
It's something, that one, I don't know, that there's something potentially there. And then ketamine is newer. There's more and more research out on ketamine that.
I wrote a paper on ketamine when I was in Skidmore.
Oh, really?
And what was your conclusion of the paper?
It's good, but there's not enough research yet.
Yeah, that's a good summary. I mean, I'm a very conservative psychiatrist by definition. I think that I am never going to be an early adopter of anything. It's just kind of the way I was trained and who I am as a person. Ketamine, the research is good. Like it is coming out more and more. There's good research. The thing that is unclear to me is, and I was actually working on an editorial that I never finished on this, but is so ketamine also has neurotoxic effects. And if you look back at like research, I don't know if you looked at this at all, but research from like 20 or 30 years ago, people ended up with brain damage from repeat ketamine use, basically.
Mhm.
And so the thing that is unclear right now is like, are people getting ketamine a handful of times and it's helping their depression and they get better and then they stop taking it? Or are people actually going to be taking it every day in long-term kinds of ways that have risks that we probably don't know about yet?
Mhm.
So
Jury's still
the
out.
jury is still out a little bit. You know, I think if you wanted to learn more about it, we also could get a consultation. You know, there's people at Mass General. There's Christina Kuzine, who was actually in my residency class, who runs the TMS clinic there, the ketamine clinic there. We could have a
Yeah.
conversation with
I'm
her.
just
you know.
raising it because
Yeah, I mean,
I have no idea.
yeah, I mean, my feeling about these things is kind of like goes back to what I said before, which is like, at some point, if you're continuing to feel poorly, and just like, you know, life is not worth living in some ways, like you might as well try these things. You know, there's a certain point at which it's kind of like, okay, like, I might as well try everything possible available to me first. You know, and so.
Yeah.
You know, and I think and the first step of that is just trying more medication changes, because the other thing that is worth saying is you actually haven't been on that many medications, right? That we've actually been, I'd say, somewhat for someone who's had kind of, I'd say, the intensity of symptoms that you've had through the years. You know, you've not been on 100 different medications. And I'm not saying you're going to have to be, but
Yeah.
I think there's real reason to think that there are things that you haven't tried that may actually be pretty helpful.
Great.
So I think that's the first step, is try some medicines.
Yeah.
You know, if that's not getting us where we want it to go, thinking more about some of these other things.
Do you have any other thoughts?
Just because I'm impatient, when are those prescriptions gonna come into the CVS?
Depends on whether my 12 o'clock is sitting in the waiting room or not right now. If my 12 o'clock is sitting in the waiting room, probably I'd send them over at 1:15. If he's not in the waiting room, I'll send him over right now. So I'll go 1:15, 1:30.
1:15, 1:30. Great.
Is
Okay.
that okay?
Yes. Yeah.
The other thing
I
yeah.
have that
Alright, okay.
relief in my.
And so
Alright,
again on
okay.
Wednesday, you know how to reach me if anything comes up between now and then. Why don't you, when you pick up the Seroquel, you try it, maybe just text me and just let me know how it went, just so we can
Okay.
calibrate the dose a little bit.
Yeah, my experience is, I don't know what dose you're starting with, but it knocks people out.
25, yeah, I think there's a chance that you'll just take a nap for a while, or not. I mean, depending if you're super anxious and revved up, you may, you know, kind of.
I'm pretty anxious.
Yeah, so you may not, you know, but yeah, I think we'll start with.
And you
We'll
take it
see.
how long before you go to bed?
Well, if you're using it for sleep, 20 or 30 minutes, but
Okay.
you may end up taking some during the day, right? If 25 is too much, like if you take 25 and you say, I can't stay awake, you shouldn't have like 12.5. We just kind of, we'll have to see when you take the first dose a little bit.
Yeah,
just
that's
kinda how
why
it
I'm
affects
looking
you.
forward to
Yeah,
seeing you
and then
again
you
on
can-
Wednesday.
Yeah, but text me before then to let
I'll
me
text
know.
you before then.
Thanks.
Kind of calibrate the dose. Yeah, no, of course. Sorry.
Good time.
Just gonna not get this. It's your mother.
I have a mother.
Good to see you.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, good to see you.
Keep in touch. I'll see you next Wednesday.
Happy New Year.
All right.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Thanks for everything. Yeah.
So I'm gonna send it over right now.
Okay, thank you.
Let me just step out here and see if this meeting is on for today, because I could put that slide over,
To CVS.
to CBS. And then you can catch it from
That'd be great.
Oh yeah, CBS and Needham, is that?
Yeah, CVS and Needham is good, yeah.
you have 2 seconds right now? I need a medical person. This morning, he had emailed and said he doesn't think we need to meet at 12:30, and then I responded and said, it's up to you. Well, I can make it. If he wants to meet, I can make it. But okay. So why don't you say, given everyone's, all the things that need to be done, let's not have this meeting today. Okay? All right, and if he somehow responds and says, no, he wants to meet, just text me and let me know. Okay, thanks so much. Yeah, bye-bye. I think my meeting got canceled, which is good. That means I can take you to the pharmacy.
Thank you.
You good with that plan?
I'm good with that one. Thank you.
All right, good. You're welcome. Thank you.
Do I get a hug?
Good to see you. It's always good to hug you. Should we elevator or walk?
It's like 12:10, 12:15.
Okay.
If you don't have time, I can take an Uber.
She's gonna get back to me momentarily. The answers we'll find out very shortly. We'll find out.
I'm totally fine taking an Uber.
All right, that's probably the safest thing to do.
So I'll just wait and take an Uber.
You just do it. You just do it.
I'll Uber it.
Okay, good. 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 How you doing, okay?
Doing okay.
Do you want to talk to your mom or not?
What did she?
She just called me, just check in. Says she's free for a few minutes. I don't know whether she's looking for you. I'm sure she wants to.
I can talk to her in the Uber. I'll call her when I'm in the Uber. Yeah, I can hang out here.
Do you have anything in the car?
No, I don't think so.
All right, so you're gonna talk to Dan this afternoon. We'll see you on the record.
Dan.
What's that?
I'll talk to Dan.
Dan, your brother Dan.
Yeah.
Did you tell me that?
Yeah, I guess I did. I agreed to that, I guess.
You told me that. Yeah, that was your input. I was actually there when he was having a conversation with you, but I wasn't listening carefully.
Okay, well, I'll figure it out.
Um,
I'm just gonna get the Uber to CVS.
okay, you get the Uber. I love you.
I love you, Dad.
Okay, and you promise you're gonna be safe?
I promise I'll be safe.
Promise.
I promise I'll be safe.
Double.
Pinky swear.
Pinky, okay, good. And let me just give you a big hug. Let me see it. Is it me?
That's you.
I'll see you.
See you.
Hello. Hey, just saying goodbye to Jeremy here. See you, Jeremy. Jeremy.
Bye. It's the one. 980 Great Plain Ave, Needham. 980 Great Plain Ave, Needham.